All right, so this is page 5 of your notes, and it's dividing monomials instead of adding them. So I like to, again, before we do the rule, I'm going to draw this out. So I have 5 x's on the top, and I have 3 x's on the bottom. And so these would divide to 1, these would divide by 1, these would divide to 1. And so my answer is going to be x squared. Well, if you look at your numbers, 5 minus 3 is 2. Okay? And so that's what's happening with these. When you find the quotient, you are actually taking the exponent from the numerator minus the one from the denominator. Okay, so if I look at number 2, this would be k to the 10th. If I look at number 3, this is m to the 0, which is 1. Okay, so you would have 1 for an answer there. All right, so then let's go ahead, and I would like you to do these 3 quick. Pause, do them. So this is a to the 4th, b to the 1st, 4 minus 3. And if you just put b, that's fine. Okay, this is p to the 3rd and q to the 4th. And this is x to the 15th. Y would be y to the 0, which is just 1. So that's going to be gone. And then this is 2 minus 1, so it would be z to the 1st. Okay, please don't write y to the 0 in your final answer. I'm okay if you don't have the 1, but I really don't want you to write, like I'm okay if you don't have this 1 on the z, but I really don't want you to write y to the 0. That isn't right, and it's going to mess you up when you start doing like terms. Okay? All right, so if you divide with coefficients, I don't understand this because we're going to do this again in Algebra 2. So if you have 6 divided by 2, it's 3. It's been 3 since you were a 4th grader, right? I'm not changing math. 6 divided by 2 is still 3, and then 4 minus 3 is 1. So when you divide numbers, all of a sudden when I teach this, kids start subtracting them. And I'm like, 6 divided by 2 is 3. Why are you subtracting? Okay, and that's because we subtract exponents, but that's because of this right here where they cancel each other out to 1. Exponents are not the same as numbers. 14 divided by 7 is still 2. I'm not changing math. Put a 1 on these, and that's going to be r to the 1st, s to the 1st. Negative 36 divided by 4 is still a negative 9. I'm not changing math. These c's would cancel to 1, so don't write c to the 0. That's just going to get you into trouble. So your answer is a negative 9d squared. I would like you to do these 3. So you'd have 5xy squared z. Okay, and I put a little line through my z. I got yelled at like 20 years ago because some kids said my z's look like 2s, so I put a line through them. Okay, now this one gets kids. 4 divided by 8. That is 1/2. I'm not changing. I don't know why I made that fraction bar so big. That is 1/2. I'm not changing math. 4 divided by 8 is 1/2. But now you're doing 5 minus 1, and that's 4. So this is your answer. And on the last one, 36 divided by 54, that reduces to 2/3. And then it's going to be m to the 6th, n to the 3rd. Okay, so I'm not changing what division means. I'm just saying when you divide, there are things like up here that cancel. Those things cancel, and so you're just left with x squared. Okay, so on the next one, now you have to do some mixture type stuff. Okay, so on this first one, I have to deal with this exponent first. So I'm going to put a 1 on here. 3 squared is 9, x to the 10th, divided by 27, x to the 3rd. So 9/27 reduces to 1/3, and that would be x to the 7th. Okay, I would like you to do 14, 15, and 16. Pause the video and do 14, 15, and 16. So I'm going to put a 1 on the 2, and I'm taking 2 cubed. 2 times 2 is 4, times 2 is 8. So this is 8a to the 6th, b to the 12th, over 4a to the 3rd, b to the 7th. 8 divided by 4 is 2. It's always been 2. And now I subtract my exponents. Okay. On the next one, I got to take care of this exponent first. I'm going to put 1s on all of these. So the top's going to stay the same because there is no exponent up there. But on the bottom, 4 squared is 16, w to the 2nd, v to the 2nd. So 12/16 reduces to 3/4. And that's going to be w to the 7th, v squared. Okay, and now I have an exponent on the top and an exponent on the bottom. 2 to the 4th, 2 times 2 is 4, 4 times 2 is 8, 8 times 2 is 16. So that's 16, c to the 4th, d to the 16th, power to a power, you multiply. And then here, 2 squared is 4, c to the 4th, d to the 6th. So 16 divided by 4 is 4. My c's would cancel, and I'm left with d to the 10th. Okay. Now, number 17 is different. If you look at number 15, the only thing that was in an exponent was this. But on 17, it's in the whole thing. Okay? So, you do this problem differently. You have to take care of the exponent first. So, you have a couple choices, though, because you can do inside of the parentheses, and you can simplify it if you would like. So, that's 1/2, and then you would have m squared, and you would have n. And now you're cubing the whole thing. So 1 cubed is 1, m squared cubed is m to the 6. Put a 1 on that. That's n cubed. And then 2 cubed is 8. Okay. But there are some teachers that instead of doing that, so I simplified the inside and then I cubed it. You can cube every single thing. 2 cubed is 8, m to the 12th, n to the 8th, over 4 cubed, 4 times 4 times 4, that's 16 times 4 is 64. So 64 m to the 6th, n to the 3rd. And so 8 64ths would reduce to 1/8. I'd have m to the 6th and n to the 2 times 3 is a 6. Why did I make it 8? Do you see that? 2 times 3 is 6. 6 minus 3 is 3. Good morning to me. Okay? So I don't care if you simplify the inside and then multiply. That's what a lot of kids do on these kind of easier ones because by doing that, you just make the numbers smaller. Okay? So for example, let me show you 18 again. If I take everything and I square it, okay, so I'm going to do it the blue way first. I would get 144 k to the 10th over 15 squared is 225 k squared. Okay, well that reduces to 144 over, I think 12. Does 12 go into both of them? You can use a calculator. I'm pretty sure it's 12. 144 divided by, no, is it 9? 144 divided by 9 is 16. 225 divided by 9 is 20. Okay, so if I divide them both by 9, I get 16 25ths, and then I have k to the 8th. And I don't care if you write the k to the 8th on the top. It doesn't matter. Okay, so now if I simplify, I know 12 can be divided by 3 and 15 can be divided by 3. So the inside would become 4, and then this has 1, so it's going to be k to the 4th over 5. And then I'm squaring it. 4 squared is 16, k to the 8th over 25. I get the same exact answer. So some kids like to simplify inside the parentheses, and then some kids like to put it all in. It's just those numbers are going to be bigger if you do it the blue way. All right, so what I would like you to do right now is I would like you to try 19 and 20. Okay, so if I do it the purple way, I'm going to, those cancel, and I end up with 4/5 with a B on the top because the A's cancel, and then I'm squaring it. 4 squared is 16, B squared, 5 squared is 25. So there should be your answer no matter how you did it. And you might have written it like this, 16 over 25 times B squared. I don't really care. So on the next one, order of operations, you multiply first. You do that whole top first. So I get 36 x to the 6th, y to the 7th, over 6x squared, y to the 4th. So 36 divided by 6 is 6, x to the 4th, y to the 3rd. So that should be your answer. Okay, so I would like you to take a minute, and I would like you to do 21 and 22, and then we'll go over them. These are hard, I know. So I'm going to multiply the top, and I get 6p to the 3rd, q to the 5th, over a negative 6 p q to the 5th. So if I take 6 divided by a negative 6, that's a negative 1. Put a 1 on that, it's p squared, and then my q's cancel. And then finally on this other one I asked you to do, that is a doozy. You got to square first. 10 squared is 100, a squared b squared times 2a to the 4th, b to the 3rd. Okay, and so now you're going to take care of that whole top first. So that would be 200 a to the 6th, b to the 5th, divided by 4 a to the 5th, b. 200 divided by 4 is 50 a, b to the 4th. So that should be your answer. Okay. All right, so I'm going to take a look at 23, okay? And I'm going to look at 23 and we're going to look at 25. And then I'm going to let you do a couple questions. So on this one, you got to take care of exponents first. So I put a 1 on that. 2 squared is 4x to the 6th. 3 cubed, you start to kind of memorize these. That's 9. 9 times 3 is 27. So that's 27y to the 12th over 12x to the 4th, y to the 5th. You've got to do the top first. And 27 times 4, you could use your calculators, 108 x to the 6th, y to the 12th, over 12 x to the 4th, y to the 5th. 108 does go in, 12 does go into 108 9 times, and you can have your calculator for that. So then x squared, y to the 7th. Okay. All right, so now I would like you to look at 25. 25. You have to take care of this multiplying first. So you have a negative 24, c to the 5th, d to the 3rd, over 6c squared d, and then you're minusing this. Remember, the only way you can add or subtract is if they're the same. So then I would have a negative 4c cubed d squared minus 9c cubed d squared. If you look at those are the same. So you just take the numbers in front. So that's a negative 13c cubed d squared. Okay, I would like you to pause the video and I would like you to do these 4. All I'm going to do is put the answers up just to save us a little time because you maybe get them and I don't want to waste your time. If your answers are wrong and you can't figure out what you did, this is one of those sections you've got to get a hold of me and say, can you go over 24? I don't know what I did wrong. Nothing's wrong if that's true. Okay, if you were in class with me, you could raise your hand and ask. So that's why I think it's important that you got to be okay just saying, hey, I didn't get 24 right. Pause and do them. Okay, 24's answer is 18mn to the 6th. That's the final answer. 26's is 11r to the 7th, s squared. 27 is 6m squared n to the 5th. And 28, that's a doozy, 3x squared y squared. If you need me to go over that one, I would totally get it. Okay, so those are those 4 answers, so go ahead and check them.